Family violence, that is the physical or sexual violence that occurs in families. This violence may be physical or emotional abuse. In the past, spanking has been used. For many, it still is used. It could consist of a simple slap on the back with a hand, or using a belt or even a wooden switch from a tree branch. Research shows that parents with high expectations are more prone to use physical violence as a means of child discipline. In the past, at school, even teachers disciplined children, sometimes with a ruler or sometimes with a wooden paddle. Some feel that spanking teaches violence, as almost all violent persons interviewed were spanked as children. However, this research does not account for adults that were spanked as children and that never became violent in adulthood. A survey in 1993 showed that 83% of adults had been spanked, and that 80% felt it was potentially harmful to spank. However, of this group, 55% said that they too had used spanking on their own children as discipline. In 1994, here in the United States, 57% of children that were murdered in this country were murdered by their own parents. Many methods have been developed to decrease family violence here in the United States. Education has been key in helping to prevent abuse in families. Training teachers, police officers, social workers, physicians, and nurses to recognize the signs and symptoms of abuse early on helps to prevent years of abuse from occurring. Emergency hotlines, shelters have been developed for the abused women and children to offer assistance and referrals. Child Protective Services takes anonymous reports of child abuse, investigates and intervenes when the evidence is substantiated. Increased education for parents in the community at the county level offers effective child discipline methods. These include teaching parents to stay calm, praising good behavior, not focusing on the negative behavior, and being a good role model and avoiding physical punishment whenever possible. Avoiding physical punishment is advised, as spanking has never been shown to be any more effective than other forms of child discipline. In fact, spanking has been shown to make some children more angry and more aggressive. Describing family violence here in the United States using the Radcliffe-Brown functionalist approach. It describes it as a means for American society to maintain its social structure, improve safety and security for all of American society. Its beginnings date back to the Bible scriptures, where there are several scriptures describing violence toward children inflicted by their parents. The book Proverbs 23 verses 13 through 14 states, "Withhold not correction from the child, for if thou beatest him with the rod, and shalt deliver his soul from hell." Proverbs 22:15 states, "Foolishness is bound in the heart of a child, but the rod of correction shall drive it far from him." Describing family violence using the Malinowski view of functionalism states that family violence is used to satisfy the needs of an individual in a society. Research shows that men that victimize their families have a need to control their victims. Factors that make a man prone to abuse include being unemployed, using illicit drugs, living in poverty, not graduating from high school, experiencing past abuse, being aged 18 to 30, and living together and not being married. Alcoholism also plays a role in this. Alcoholics feel guilty about their addiction, and at times they will take out their frustration on their families. Pornography also plays a role in this. There are links between pornography and family violence. Scenes of violence and degradation towards women are part of such films, and research has shown that men that abuse have a tendency toward viewing such films. Their need to control and dominate is important to these abusers. They mostly hide their own lowest self-esteem and their lack of education. Looking at family violence through the feminist approach, this approach identifies how women are being exploited and how women can overcome this exploitation. It is estimated in the United States that 3 to 4 million women are battered each year. Up to 35% of emergency room visits by women are thought to be due to partner abuse. It occurs most often when the male has power over all of the decisions in a household. This male power uses control to control the couple's finances, and he makes the female totally dependent and in essence trapped by the male. This abuse, being abused by someone that you love and trust, makes it very difficult for a female to overcome this and report it to authorities. The abuse that the female may be experiencing may have a long history, beginning with females first being abused by their father and or brothers. This develops the low self-esteem and depression for the female. It will have an effect on any of her future relationships and be detrimental to her future. It is estimated that 40 to 70% of men that abuse their partners also abuse their children. Using cultural ecology, we can describe the relationship between a culture and its environment with which it lives in. The American culture is a fast-paced lifestyle. Many times both parents have to work. This causes increased stress levels and anxiety. It is estimated that up to 26% of the American population suffers from some sort of mental illness. This can lead to dependence on drugs and alcohol. This can also increase the incidence of violence in American society. In 1992, a book by James Garbarino compared children living in the city of Chicago, and it made comparisons between them and children that were exposed to war. It showed that both can have long-lasting effects on children. In conclusion, the Radcliffe-Brown view of functionalism demonstrates that family violence can serve as a method of maintaining order in society. But there are different views on how best to maintain this discipline, and those views remain even varied today. Times have changed, and most would agree that the use of physical punishment should either be excluded or used only as a last resort when it comes to child discipline. Thanks to the feminist movement, it has been responsible for most, if not all, of the necessary changes in the treatment of women. Although there are still occurring cases of both child and partner abuse in our country, with improved education and therapies, our society continues to try to eliminate both of these abuses.